This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of August 25th, 2025. This week is all about relationships and specifically your relationship with yourself. Venus, the ruler of relationships and the social director of the skies, moves into the sign of Leo on the 25th, on Monday. And this is a very, very happy place for her. Venus is not merely the goddess of love, but she also rules what we value, our creativity, our attitude about money, how we get along with each other. And in Leo, she brings a high, playful, dramatic, sometimes energy to everything we do with each other. Venus in Leo likes to dress up, to strut, be seen, to get attention. She encourages being out with people, being out in public, taking center stage, acting as if you are due what you know you're due, whether you believe it or not. This continues the fieriness that has been in the skies for some time and not only internalizes it, but spreads it into all of our interactions. Now, Venus goes through an important journey during the week, and all of the things she rules will go through the journey with her and change, because all of the outermost planets are at the very beginning of their signs, and she greets them one after the other just as soon as she enters Leo. The first thing that happens is an immediate confidence, containment maybe, of some of this fieriness, a desire to stabilize and bring into physical form what you want. There's also the courage to actually go after something that you want, because Venus is in a trine or a direct current with Saturn in Aries, so each of them is amping the other up. Leo isn't a particularly quick sign. It likes to stay in one place so it can be seen all the better. But Saturn is in the sign of absolute non-premeditation. Aries, just quick, go after things. So could be a very fun, volatile, risk-taking, successful risk-taking start of the week. And then the next thing that happens is new perspective, change, plot twists, monkey wrenches, windows opening, doors opening, something you weren't quite expecting, or something coming to you in a way you didn't see as possible, with Venus in an opportunity aspect or sextile to Uranus and Gemini. So interesting information flying in, unexpected information. It will not be boring at all. As soon as that happens, Venus completes a direct connection to Neptune, also at the beginning of Aries, like Saturn. They're both rulers of love. There could be massive inspiration that just comes through you. You could have a relationship or a situation plop into place that feels heaven sent. And as this is happening, we are sensing the rumblings of something deeper, something bigger, something probably more primal, less conscious. Venus is opposing Pluto exactly on the 27th. They are both rulers of desire and money. You could be aware of something that you really, really want, but it's sort of out of reach. There could be a challenge coming involving what you want and how you want to stand out, and groups of people feeling lost in the crowd, feeling lost online, feeling less than seen, which leads to the Leo speech, the Leo lecture, which is extremely important and fits right now, which is, when there's something really major going on in Leo, pay attention to who gets you, who doesn't get you, who's ignoring you, and who is trying to put out your light. Where do you feel more of yourself? Where do you feel more alive? Where do you notice that people are also becoming more energetic in your presence? Head there. Do not waste your energy on the people who do not get you, who ignore you, who can't see who you are. And get away from the people with the water pistols or buckets who are trying to douse your fire. End of lecture. One more interesting characteristic of Venus's travel this week, and that is that when she saunters into the opposition to Pluto, this occurs during another one of those incredibly long void moons, which we're having because so many planets are up in the earlier degrees of the zodiac, and the moon makes her last major aspect with a tremendous amount of turf left before she changes signs. So it's going to be void, of course, nearly all day on the 27th, and there could be an extremely weird sensation of being outside of time and being off in maybe a fantasy world even of what you might like, but you can't quite have, so you're just looking at it and watching it and feeling something brewing and building and not knowing when it's going to actually come into being. The concept of fantasy could break a bit on the 28th. Two of those outermost planets have an opportunity aspect, a sextile, between Uranus and Neptune, and there could be a break, a plot twist, some kind of information that almost feels like Deus ex machina or hand of God or heaven sent or some cosmic trickster plopping something in your path or in the news feed that changes a lot of things. So you might have inspiration just coming out of nowhere. You could wake up with some massive piece of creativity taking shape or an understanding. And a really fun way to look at this is, what's the bigger thing that could happen? What even better thing could come from this? And over the weekend, we get a sense of things starting to slow down. And even though there's still a bunch of fire in the sky, maybe not quite yet calm, but definitely a sense of somebody trying to put the brakes on some of the chaos. Saturn, the planet of adulting, the party pooper of the zodiac, the guy that wants you to fess up, own up, take responsibility, pay your bills, eat your veggies, go to bed on time, all the really boring stuff that brings structure and grounding to your life. Saturn is approaching the end of his retrograde journey through Aries and will be returning to Pisces on September 1st, the beginning of next week, where he will be until next February. He's going to be revisiting some of the territory that he occupied during that massive pileup of Piscean energy in the last 2 weeks of March. And as the fall goes on, as the next season rolls in, two of the other outer planets are also going to scooch back into their old signs, and we're going to have a sense of cleanup occurring. So the first hint of that shows up as September rolls in, and we start to make our way into the Virgo Pisces eclipses, which will continue the chaos in a very different way because they're going to hit the reset button for a lot of it. Do use this week's time to fine-tune what you're doing with yourself and what you're getting out of life and how much of your own self-expression, joy, your true nature you are allowing to come out. Because the contacts with the outer planets give you every opportunity to embrace who you really are and to cut out the stuff that isn't who you really are and just accept it and relish it and have fun. Homing thought of the week: love is an inside job. Song of the week: This Little Light of Mine, I'm Gonna Let It Shine. And the image of the week is a selfie stick. You'll learn more about this in my forecast for the month of August, which is at my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 35 years' experience. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I'm really grateful to the people who support my work there. I host the show Celestial Compass on Om Times Radio and TV on the first and third Monday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. I also host lively conversation on Facebook on the page Empowerment Unlimited and in the group the Astro-Insight Lounge. I post on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads at K.A. Biehl, and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian Channel. Talk to you next week.